Have you ever walked away from an argument, replaying it in your mind, thinking of all the things you should have said? Or maybe, in the heat of the moment, your emotions got the better of you, and you found yourself losing not just the argument, but your sense of control. What if I told you that the key to defending yourself in any argument isn't about shouting louder or being right? It's about strategy, a calm, calculated approach that makes you untouchable. Today, we're diving deep into the fusion of Stoicism and dark psychology, two seemingly opposing forces that, when combined, can make you unstoppable in any verbal confrontation. Stoicism gives you the inner discipline to stay unshaken, while dark psychology arms you with subtle yet powerful techniques to disarm and dominate. This isn't just about winning. This is about owning the space, controlling the flow, and walking away victorious without ever breaking a sweat. Imagine the power of standing in front of anyone, your boss, a critic, or even someone close to you, calm, in control, and always one step ahead. But before we unlock these secrets, here's what I need you to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video designed to empower your mind and elevate your life. And at the end of this video, I want you to share your most powerful takeaway in the comments. Your first challenge begins now. Drop the phrase, "Calm is power," in the comments to show you're ready to embrace this transformation. Let's get started. Number 1. Understand the battle, not the opponent. Let's start by addressing a mistake almost everyone makes in arguments. They focus entirely on the opponent. They think, how can I prove them wrong? Or, how can I make them see my side? But here's the truth that will change the way you approach every argument. The person in front of you isn't the real challenge. The challenge is maintaining control of yourself and the situation. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some people can say absolutely nothing and still dominate a conversation? Or how others lose their power the moment they raise their voice or become defensive? That's because they've lost control of the battlefield, the space where the argument takes place. Now, picture this. You're in the middle of an argument, and instead of reacting to their accusations, their anger, or their words, you focus solely on controlling the space. You remain calm. You choose your words with precision. You dictate the pace of the exchange. Suddenly they're scrambling to keep up because you've flipped the dynamic. You're no longer reacting to them, they're reacting to you. So, what does this look like in practice? First, recognize that arguments are rarely about what's being said on the surface. Beneath every word is a hidden motivation. Maybe they want to feel superior. Maybe they're seeking validation. Maybe they're trying to provoke you to lose control. Dark psychology teaches us that if you can identify their true need, you can neutralize their attack without engaging in it. For example, if someone is shouting at you to get a reaction and you stay calm, refusing to match their energy, they'll often exhaust themselves or feel foolish. They lose power. This is why the Stoics emphasized emotional discipline. It's not just about being calm for the sake of it. It's about turning your calm into a weapon. They can't control you if they can't provoke you. Next, remember this. The argument is about control of the narrative. If they're loud, you become quiet and measured. If they're rushing, you slow the pace. These contrasts shift the balance in your favor. When you control the rhythm, you control the room. If you're ready to embrace this mindset, here's your challenge. Comment the phrase, "I control the board." Why? Because arguments aren't won by emotion or force, they're won by strategy. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that like button if this is already reshaping how you think about arguments. Up next, we're diving into one of the most unexpected yet powerful tools you can use to disarm anyone: silence. Number 2, the art of pausing. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated and misunderstood tools in any argument: silence. Yes, silence. Most people fear silence in conversations. They rush to fill the gaps, thinking it makes them appear smarter or more dominant. But here's the truth. Silence isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. When you're silent in an argument, something remarkable happens. You force the other person to sit with their own words. Silence unsettles people because it creates a vacuum, and humans are wired to fill it. That's where the power lies. The longer you pause, the more your opponent starts to question themselves. Did I say too much? Am I wrong? Why aren't they reacting? Their overthinking becomes your advantage. Here's how it works. When emotions are high, words often fuel the fire. If someone attacks you verbally and you respond immediately, you're feeding their energy. But if you take a pause, just a few seconds of calm, deliberate silence, you disrupt their flow. Suddenly, the argument is no longer theirs to control. You've claimed the space by refusing to engage on their terms. Why does this work? It's grounded in both Stoicism and dark psychology. The Stoics believed that pausing allowed us to process our emotions before responding, ensuring that our actions were deliberate and rational. Meanwhile, dark psychology teaches us that silence triggers discomfort in others. They interpret your lack of reaction as either supreme confidence or hidden knowledge, both of which give you the upper hand. For example, imagine someone insults you in a heated debate. Instead of snapping back, you meet their gaze, take a deep breath, and say nothing. In that silence, they'll often feel compelled to explain themselves or justify their attack. They'll try to close the gap you've left open. That's when their argument begins to unravel, and you've already won without saying a word. How to master the pause. Count to 3 in your mind before responding. This gives you time to decide if their words even deserve a reply. If you do respond, keep your tone calm and your words precise. Speak only what's necessary and let the silence do the heavy lifting. Practice maintaining eye contact during pauses. It shows that you're unshaken and in control, which magnifies the effect of your silence. And here's the kicker. Silence doesn't just neutralize the other person, it also gives you clarity. It's in those quiet moments that you can spot the weaknesses in their argument and plan your next move. Right now, I want you to comment, silence is power. Let everyone know you're mastering the pause and taking control of every conversation you're in. And don't forget to hit that like button if this tactic is already sparking ideas for how you'll use it. Next, we'll explore how to turn their own emotions against them with a technique so subtle they won't even realize what's happening. Let's move on to mirroring. Number 3, mirror their emotions. Here's the next tactic that will make you nearly untouchable in any argument: mirroring. This technique is so subtle and effective that your opponent won't even realize you're using it, and yet it's one of the most powerful tools in both Stoicism and dark psychology. Why? Because when you mirror someone's emotions, you're not just disarming them, you're leading them without them even knowing. So, what is mirroring? It's the art of reflecting someone's behavior, tone, or emotions back at them. Think about it. Humans are naturally drawn to people who are like them. When you subtly mirror their energy, you build a subconscious connection, which makes them more likely to soften their stance and listen to you. But when you do it strategically, mirroring also becomes a weapon of deflection, letting you turn their emotions against them. Here's how it works in practice. Imagine someone comes at you aggressively in an argument. Instead of matching their anger or shutting down, you reflect their intensity, but with a twist. Instead of yelling, you respond firmly and confidently, showing that you're in control. This throws them off balance because their emotional escalation no longer serves them. You've matched their energy but redirected it, like judo for the mind. For example, if they say, "You never listen to me," you can respond calmly but emphatically with, "So what I'm hearing is that you feel unheard. Let's talk about that." What just happened? You mirrored their frustration, but turned it into a rational discussion, diffusing the emotional charge and taking control of the conversation. Why does this work? The Stoics believed that controlling your emotions meant understanding the emotions of others. Mirroring allows you to step into their mindset and redirect their energy without being consumed by it. In dark psychology, this is called building rapport through reflection. It's a subtle way to guide the conversation while making them feel like you're on their side, even when you're not. The rules of effective mirroring: match their tone, but soften it. If they're loud, you respond with a steady, measured voice. If they're defensive, you acknowledge their feelings without escalating. Reflect their words. Repeating their key phrases back to them shows you're listening, but it also gives you control over the narrative. Redirect the focus. Once you've mirrored their energy, use it to guide the conversation where you want it to go. One important note: mirroring is not about manipulation, it's about control. You're not trying to deceive them, you're maintaining the upper hand by keeping the conversation on your terms. Right now, drop the phrase "reflect and redirect" in the comments to show you're ready to master this subtle but transformative technique. And if this is opening your eyes to a whole new way of handling arguments, hit that like button, because we're not stopping here. Up next, we'll dive into a tactic that's both ancient and timeless, using questions to unravel their argument piece by piece. Let's keep building your arsenal. Number 4, shift their certainty. Now let's talk about a tactic that's as ancient as it is devastatingly effective: asking questions. This method is rooted in the Socratic technique, a cornerstone of Stoicism, and it's a game changer when it comes to defending yourself in any argument. Why? Because questions do something that no direct statement ever can. They shift the burden of proof back onto the other person. Here's the thing: most people walk into arguments with a shield of certainty. They're confident in their perspective, often without having fully thought it through. By asking questions, you expose the gaps in their logic and make them reevaluate their position, sometimes without them even realizing it. But this isn't about asking just any question. The key is to ask strategic, open-ended questions that force them to clarify their argument, justify their claims, or reconsider their stance. Questions like, "What makes you believe that's true? How did you come to that conclusion? Do you think there could be another way of looking at this?" Notice how these questions aren't confrontational. Instead, they invite reflection. When used correctly, they make the other person do all the mental work, while you remain calm and composed. Why is this so powerful? First, it shifts the dynamic. Instead of you defending yourself, they're now defending their argument. Second, it buys you time. While they're scrambling to respond, you can evaluate their logic and decide your next move. Third, and most importantly, it reveals the flaws in their reasoning. Often, people's arguments are based on assumptions, emotions, or incomplete information. Your questions expose this without you having to attack them directly. Here's an example. Imagine someone accuses you of being selfish. Instead of reacting emotionally, you ask, "What does being selfish mean to you?" Or, "Can you give me an example of what you mean by that?" These questions accomplish two things. They force the accuser to think deeper, and they buy you time to remain calm and in control. This technique is a masterclass in Stoic detachment. By staying curious instead of defensive, you demonstrate emotional discipline, a key Stoic virtue. At the same time, dark psychology comes into play by subtly shifting the power dynamic. You're no longer reacting to their attack, you're guiding the conversation with precision and control. How to master the questioning technique. Keep your tone neutral. Questions work best when they don't sound accusatory or loaded. Think calm curiosity. Ask follow-ups. One question is good. A series of questions is better. It keeps them on their toes and deepens the conversation. Don't rush. Let the silence after your question linger. It makes them feel the weight of answering. Right now, I want you to comment. Questions reveal truth. to let the world know you're ready to lead every conversation. And if this tactic is already sparking ideas for your next argument, hit that like button and let's keep going. Next, we'll uncover a technique that lies at the core of Stoic philosophy: how to detach emotionally and remain untouchable no matter what they throw at you. Let's dive in. Number 5. Detach emotionally. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. You can't win an argument if you're emotionally attached to the outcome. Emotions are fuel for your opponent. If they can trigger you, they can control you. That's why the next step to effortlessly defending yourself in any argument is to master emotional detachment, a skill the Stoics held as one of the highest virtues. Think of yourself as a flame. When you're calm, your flame burns steadily, strong and controlled. But when you let anger, frustration or fear take over, your flame flickers and loses its strength. Your opponent will sense this instability and use it to overpower you. Emotional detachment ensures that your flame remains unshaken, no matter how fierce the storm around you becomes. So how do you detach emotionally? The Stoics had a concept called the dichotomy of control. It's simple. Focus only on what you can control and let go of everything else. In an argument, this means you can't control what the other person says, thinks, or feels. You can only control your response. This mindset shift takes away their power over you because you're no longer reacting to their bait. Dark psychology amplifies this principle by recognizing that staying detached makes you unpredictable. Emotional reactions are predictable. They follow patterns your opponent can exploit. But when you remain calm and poised, they won't know how to handle you. This creates an imbalance of power in your favor. Here's an example. Imagine someone accuses you of something unfair or even hurtful. Instead of defending yourself or arguing back, you pause, breathe deeply, and say something like, "I see that you feel strongly about this." You're acknowledging their emotion without validating their attack. This keeps the conversation grounded while protecting your energy. Why is emotional detachment so effective? It disrupts their strategy. If their goal is to provoke you and you don't react, their plan fails. It gives you clarity. Without emotional noise clouding your mind, you can think more clearly and respond more effectively. It maintains your power. When you don't react, you send a clear message. I'm in control of myself, and you can't shake me. How to practice emotional detachment in arguments. Use physical anchors. When emotions rise, ground yourself by focusing on your breath or the feeling of your feet on the floor. This keeps you present and calm. Reframe the situation. Instead of seeing their words as a personal attack, view them as noise, irrelevant to your inner peace. Remind yourself of your values. Stoics lived by the principle that what others think or say about you doesn't define who you are. Your worth isn't up for debate. Right now, drop the phrase, "unshaken and unstoppable," in the comments to show you're stepping into this power. And if this section is already changing how you see arguments, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs it. Up next, we'll explore how to use subtle dominance to take the higher ground and ensure your words hold more weight than anyone else's. Let's keep building. Number 6. Subtle dominance. Let's take your argument game to the next level by mastering the art of subtle dominance. This is where you start to control not just your emotions, but the entire dynamic of the conversation. It's not about overpowering your opponent with aggression or volume. It's about speaking less, saying more, and ensuring every word you utter carries weight. Here's the secret. People naturally defer to those who project calm authority. When you stay composed and deliberate, you create an aura of confidence that's impossible to ignore. Think of it as taking the higher ground, not morally, but strategically. From this elevated position, you have a clear view of the entire battlefield, while they're stuck in the chaos below. So how do you project subtle dominance? Speak less, but with precision. In an argument, the more someone talks, the more likely they are to make mistakes. By contrast, when you keep your words deliberate and focused, they carry more impact. Silence becomes your punctuation, giving your statements greater power. Control the pace. If they're rushing to make their point, you slow things down. If they're spiraling into emotion, you respond with calm logic. By setting the tempo, you ensure the conversation unfolds on your terms. Hold steady eye contact. This simple act communicates confidence and composure, but don't overdo it. Too much can feel aggressive. Aim for a balance that says, "I see you and I'm not intimidated." Here's an example. Imagine someone challenges your opinion in a meeting. While they rant and try to dominate the room, you wait patiently. When they finish, instead of matching their intensity, you respond with a calm, measured statement like, "I appreciate your perspective, but here's another way to look at it." Notice how this response avoids conflict while still asserting authority. You've taken control without ever raising your voice. Why does subtle dominance work? It's grounded in both Stoic principles and dark psychology. The Stoics believed in controlling your reactions, not others' perceptions. When you focus on projecting inner strength, people naturally recognize your authority. Dark psychology complements this by showing that dominance isn't about force, it's about creating the perception of control. How to embody subtle dominance? Master your tone. A calm, steady voice carries more weight than a loud or defensive one. Use body language. Keep your posture open and confident. Lean slightly forward when speaking to signal engagement, and relax when listening to show control. Be unpredictable. Don't always respond immediately. Sometimes a thoughtful pause can make your words more impactful. Right now, comment, "I stand above the noise," to declare your mastery of subtle dominance. And if this technique resonates with you, hit that like button and share this with someone who could use a calmer, stronger approach to conflict. Up next, we'll delve into a mind-shifting technique that's as powerful as it is simple: reframing. This will give you the ability to turn any argument in your favor with just a few words. Let's keep going. Number 7. Reframing. Now let's talk about one of the most transformative tactics you can use in any argument: reframing. This technique is pure mental judo. It allows you to take the energy of someone's argument and flip it in your favor. By changing the perspective, you shift the entire dynamic, leaving your opponent scrambling to keep up. Here's the beauty of reframing. It's subtle but incredibly powerful. Most arguments are built on rigid assumptions, statements that people believe to be true without questioning. Reframing is the art of challenging those assumptions, not by attacking them, but by shifting how they're viewed. When you master this, you can turn even the most heated argument into an opportunity to steer the conversation exactly where you want it to go. How does reframing work? Let's break it down. Imagine someone accuses you of being selfish. Instead of defending yourself, you reframe the accusation by saying, "I care deeply about my priorities, just like you care about yours." It's how we both stay true to what matters most. What just happened? You didn't deny their accusation or argue against it. Instead, you shifted the focus to a universal truth that makes their point harder to attack. Another example: if someone says, "You're always late and it's disrespectful," you could respond with, "I see how much punctuality matters to you, and I'll work on respecting that." At the same time, I hope we can acknowledge that sometimes life throws unexpected challenges. This reframes the criticism from a personal attack into a shared understanding, softening their position. Why is reframing so effective? It disrupts their narrative. Most people argue based on assumptions they believe are unshakable. Reframing challenges those assumptions without confrontation. It shifts the emotional tone. Arguments are often fueled by emotion. Reframing redirects the energy toward a calmer, more constructive place. It puts you in control. When you reframe, you're leading the conversation rather than reacting to it. This gives you the upper hand. How to master reframing. Listen for assumptions. Pay attention to the underlying beliefs in their argument. These are the foundations you'll challenge. Find common ground. Reframing works best when you align your response with a shared value or universal truth. Stay calm and confident. Reframing is about guiding, not forcing. A calm demeanor makes your shifts more persuasive. Here's the Stoic connection. The Stoics taught us that we can't control external events, but we can control how we interpret them. Reframing is the practical application of this wisdom. By changing how you see a situation, you change how you respond to it, and that changes everything. Right now, comment. I control the frame to show you're ready to lead every argument with clarity and strength. And if this technique is inspiring new ways to handle conflict, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs it. Up next, we're diving into one of the most subtle yet devastating tools in your arsenal, planting seeds of doubt. Let's continue building your mastery. Number 8. Planting seeds of doubt. Now we're entering the realm of subtle strategic influence. Let's talk about a technique that's so subtle your opponent won't even realize it's happening. Planting seeds of doubt. This is where dark psychology shines. By introducing doubt into someone's argument, you destabilize their confidence, leaving them second-guessing their position and handing control of the conversation back to you. Here's the secret. People are far more likely to believe an idea if they think it came from their own mind. Planting seeds of doubt works because you don't directly challenge their argument. Instead, you introduce subtle questions or observations that make them rethink their stance without feeling attacked. How does it work? Let's say someone is adamantly defending their opinion in an argument. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," you might ask, "Have you considered how this might play out if the situation changes?" Or, "What would happen if this assumption didn't hold true?" These questions don't directly attack their belief, but they create cracks in their certainty. Another example, if someone insists on a particular solution, you could say, "That's an interesting perspective. What do you think might be the risks involved?" Notice how you're not disagreeing outright. Instead, you're guiding them to question their own logic. Why is this so powerful? It's non-confrontational. Seeds of doubt work because they're indirect. The other person doesn't feel like they're being attacked, which lowers their defenses. It encourages self-reflection. By framing your doubts as questions or observations, you make them think critically about their own position. It gives you control. When they start questioning themselves, they'll often look to you for guidance or validation, shifting the power dynamic in your favor. How to plant seeds of doubt effectively. Start with curiosity. Frame your questions as genuine inquiries rather than challenges. This keeps the tone constructive. Be subtle. The goal is to introduce small doubts, not to dismantle their argument all at once. Think of it as planting one seed at a time. Stay calm and composed. Doubt is most effective when delivered with confidence and neutrality. Here's the Stoic connection. The Stoics taught us to approach conversations with a calm, rational mindset. Planting seeds of doubt aligns with this philosophy because it relies on reason and subtlety, not emotion or force. Instead of overpowering someone, you guide them to their own realizations, just as the Stoics believed in teaching through example rather than argument. The dark psychology twist. This technique leverages the human tendency to doubt what feels uncertain. By introducing just a hint of ambiguity, you weaken their foundation, making them more open to your influence. Right now, comment. Doubt opens doors, to show that you're ready to master this subtle but powerful technique. And if you're finding these tactics valuable, smash that like button and share this video with someone who could use a little strategic guidance. Up next, we'll tie it all together with the ultimate power of self-mastery. where every technique builds toward effortless control in any argument. Let's finish strong. Number 9. The true power of self-mastery. Now that you've learned these powerful techniques, pausing, mirroring, reframing, planting doubt, and more, it's time to bring it all together. At the core of defending yourself in any argument lies the ultimate skill, self-mastery. This is the foundation of Stoicism and the thread that ties every tactic we've covered into one cohesive approach. Here's the truth. You can't control what others say, do, or believe. You can only control yourself. And when you master your own emotions, words, and reactions, you naturally control the space around you. This is where true power lies, not in dominating others, but in being untouchable yourself. What does self-mastery look like in action? Emotional discipline. No matter how heated the argument becomes, your calmness disarms them. The more they try to provoke you, the more their frustration works against them. Strategic thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively, you plan your moves, staying one step ahead of your opponent. Your silence, questions, and reframes are deliberate and precise. Unshakable confidence. When you believe in your ability to handle any argument, it shows. Your presence alone becomes a statement of authority. Here's an example. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes you in front of others. Instead of defending yourself or reacting emotionally, you take a breath, acknowledge their perspective, and calmly say, "That's an interesting take. I'd like to hear more about why you feel that way." This response shows confidence, diffuses the tension, and shifts the focus onto them. You've just demonstrated self-mastery while keeping complete control of the interaction. Why is self-mastery so powerful? It creates a ripple effect. When you're calm and composed, people feel it. They're less likely to challenge you and more likely to respect your perspective. Dark psychology teaches us that confidence is contagious. By mastering yourself, you project an aura of strength that others instinctively respond to. How to cultivate self-mastery? Practice daily reflection. The Stoics believed in nightly self-assessment. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where can I improve? Anticipate challenges. Prepare yourself for the arguments or conflicts you're likely to face. When you're ready, nothing can catch you off guard. Stay committed to growth. Every argument is an opportunity to refine your skills and strengthen your resolve. Right now, comment "calm, clear, and in control" to declare your commitment to self-mastery. And if this video has transformed how you think about arguments, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this, and subscribe for more wisdom that will elevate your mind. Thank you for watching Stoic Blessing, where we blend ancient wisdom and modern strategies to help you conquer life's challenges. Remember to turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Stay calm, stay powerful, and we'll see you in the next one.